Hey, fellow writers. Last Monday, we started talking about ways to make your creative writing more realistic. And this Monday, we're going to delve further into that topic. I've included the blog links to both this video and the previous one in the description section below. But here's a one sentence recap of last week's anyway. Really take notice of the reality around you, then put it in your book. Now, here's a one sentence recap of this week's. Don't assume that all reality will make your creative writing more realistic. Oddly enough, it just doesn't work like that. I know I've covered this in my non-video blog post before, but it's worth repeating on as many platforms as possible to drive it into as many creative writing brains as possible. Caricatures do happen in reality, but they don't typically work in fiction. For the record, a caricature is a depiction of someone or something that over accentuates their flaws to the point of being ridiculous. It's a word that most often is associated with artistic renderings where someone will sit down to be sketched by a cartoonist or cartoon style. If the person has a big nose, for example, the cartoonist is going to give them an even bigger nose. And if the person has, let's say, I don't know, a lot of mascara on, then in that case, the artist is going to give them very extended lashes to the point of, I don't know, insane proportions. When we're talking about caricatures outside of art, however, we're normally talking about someone who displays negative personality features or embodies stereotypes to unrealistic degrees. While I can think of a few different examples of individuals who were too ridiculous for words that I personally have come across, the best one I can refer to is Gary. He was a millennial former colleague of mine who was desperate for attention. Older generations rag on millennials all the time. I am a millennial, just for the record. And honestly, I don't blame them one bit for it. As a group, we are self involved, pretentious leeches who try our very hardest to exist inside echo chambers that constantly affirm our right to be self involved, pretentious leeches. Ouch, I know, but I stand by it. I also stand by this next statement. Gary took millennialism to an extreme that was downright mind boggling. Not only would he pass off every assignment he could to anyone he could, then turn around and take credit for the finished results, he also gossiped like the worst kind of mean girl ever and constantly interrupted the editorial team's shared workspace to spout his political opinions. Obnoxious. Oh my word. Yet, let's face it, none of that behavior in and of itself is unrealistic, ridiculous though it was. What pushes Gary across the line into sheer inanity was his habit of bringing his guitar into the editorial team's shared workspace to play for us, randomly, during work hours. He wasn't even good at it. That quite might, that right there might very well be the absolute most inane part of the story. If I wanted to realistically describe Gary's guitar playing and creative writing, it would fall flat, and not just from a musical standpoint. Readers wouldn't buy it for an instant because of how nonsensical this childish demand for attention came across, no matter how it really happened. Maybe, I don't know, it could work in Chick Lit because of Chick Lit's lighter, fluffier tones, but that's it. Incidentally, this does bring up another good point. Different realities translate better into certain genres than others. Keep that in mind while you're writing, and even more so when you're editing. Always asking yourself, does this draw readers further into my story's reality, or does it nudge them out of it? With that mentality firmly in place, you will automatically make your creative writing more realistic and therefore more enjoyable, both for you and your readers. Thanks so much for watching, guys, and I'll see you next week. Bye.